What the did I just read? This is gonna be a tough one, folks. There we go. Hey everyone, what's going on? Back with a new video. Today I'm going to be talking about a book that was pretty hard to get through, but you know, it has had a lot of gruesome parts in it, and the sad part about this, it is a true story, and that is If You Tell by Greg Olson. A true story of murder, family secrets, and the unbreakable bond of sisterhood. First of all, let me mention that this is actually my first nonfiction book I've done on my channel, and I will say I do love true crime, and I don't really, dabble in it much because I'm always reading, horror fiction and a lot of that. Certain true crime nonfiction I'm really into, like, a lot of stuff back with Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, all those fucking serial killers. It is pretty gruesome stuff, but it's a fascinating horror, how these people are real and like they're out there in the world, and we just don't think of anything until obviously they pop up in the news or they end up in jail. Like I mentioned earlier, this story is a true story, and it follows the Knotek sisters of Nikki, Sammy, and Tori, and it talks about the gruesome and the unbelievably sadistic life they lived from being tortured from their mother, Shelly Knotek. I still can't fathom like what I just read. It's such a sad story, and a lot of justice is served in the end, and I'll get to that without any spoilers. Just the overall story was just very heart-wrenching to read. And if you think about these like horrible people that are out in the world, Greg Olson was able to talk to the Knotek sisters and find the truth behind what they had to deal with from their mother, Shelly Knotek. It's just an amazingly well-told story. Lots of details, specific dates throughout the whole story. I give this story 5 stars right off the back because it is told from many different points of view, meaning flashbacks, or it's going back to the childhood of when Shelly grew up and how she became the sadistic person that she is known today. So she had a really rough childhood, Shelly Knotek did. As she had that rough childhood, again, me being a teacher, I kind of know that if I have a student who is living in a rough neighborhood or with a rough family, the student's home life and the school life kind of butt heads. And in this story, they don't really talk about the girl's school life, but mainly their home life and what they endured from their horribly wretched mother. Now, I mentioned it, talked briefly about Shelly Knotek as she grew up as a child, and when she became an adult and finally had children of her own, she started doing things that are just too terrible to speak of. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything with the story if you have not read it or if you plan to read it. I do highly recommend it. I will mention and warn you, this isn't for the ones who have a weak heart or can't cope with the real and true facts that are in this book, and it's really ridiculous to think of how a woman could do such horrible things to her children. And with me not being a father, and again, hopefully one day I do become a father and love my children, just because this is such an opposite view of what a parent should be doing with their children and to their children. And they should actually love and support their children, not do the sadistic, fucked up shit that is in this book. I will say right now, I cannot stand any narcissistic, sadistic people who are very toxic and try to bring other people's lives down just because they are miserable. That is what you are going to find in this book. And it is horrible because this woman is in such denial of what she's been doing and what she continues to do. She tries to get her way. Shelly Knotek is such a toxic person. She's trying to continue to manipulate her daughters and people she meets and comes in contact with. And it's horrible, but the way it is told, you cannot just put this book down. To fathom that a person actually did this stuff in real life is just, I just shake my head, and I feel for these sisters. They stuck together through the hardship, and it was just amazing to read. As we talk about the end of the story, I did research on this before I read it. In the epilogue, it does state Shelly's sentencing. Again, I'm not going to say how that happens. It said in the book she was going to be released in 2022, which was obviously last year. But I did some research, and I saw that there was this little snippet saying that her plea got denied. I believe she's in jail still till the year 2025. So, she should just rot in a cell for all I care for the rest of her life, because I'm pretty sure for those who read this book, I'm not the only one saying this, or for anyone who does such horrible things to people, especially children, they should not be on this earth. They don't have a soul. This is the most emotional book review I've ever done, and though I love true crime and I know what I'm going to be expecting, some heart-wrenching, events, this one is obviously topping it off for the year 2023. And I kind of want to dabble in more of true crime, but I heard really good reviews about this. I just wanted to take a chance and read it myself, and I'm very glad I did, and I do highly recommend that you check this book out. On the bright side to end this, the sisters are still doing well. They are living their own lives and trying to forget about the horrible and nightmarish past they had lived. So that is a really good thing to end on. A lot of you may have already heard of Shelley Knotek and her abusive story and the story that has been told on the news. Again, this is actually my first time hearing about it, and again, I'm sure there's tons of other psychos and wackos out there that are doing the same things, if not probably worse. But their bond truly was strong during this book, and it is still strong to this day. And like I said, my friends, I know this was an emotional book review, and I thank you for staying with me. Remember, please, no matter how gruesome it is, read your book cover to cover. We'll see y'all later.